In 1997, a man self-published a book from his garage in Arizona. No major publisher, no marketing budget, no celebrity endorsement, just a man with an idea that went against everything society was telling people about money. In 1997, a man self-published a book from his garage in Arizona. No major publisher, no marketing budget, no celebrity endorsement, just a man with an idea that went against everything society was telling people about money. That book has now sold over 40 million copies in 51 languages, in 109 countries. It is the best-selling personal finance book in history. But here's what almost nobody talks about. The most important character in that book may never have existed. And the man who wrote it, the man who told you to quit your job, buy assets, and escape the rat race, filed for bankruptcy in 2012. This is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and this is the story nobody tells, right? Let's start with the book's origin, because context changes everything. 1997, America. The dot-com boom is beginning. The economy is electric. Everyone is being told the same story. Go to school, get a good job, work hard, save money, buy a house, retire at 65. Robert Kiyosaki walked into that world and said the story was wrong. He said school teaches you to be an employee, not to build wealth. He said your house is not your biggest asset. It's your biggest liability. He said working hard for a salary is the slowest path to financial freedom ever designed. And he proved his point through the story of two fathers. His own father, the poor dad, a highly educated man, a government official, a man who believed in the system, who worked hard his entire life, and died leaving almost nothing behind. And his friend's father, the rich dad, a man who never finished high school, who built businesses, bought properties, and taught a young Robert the real rules of money. The book is built entirely on that contrast, but when journalists investigated, they couldn't find Rich Dad. No records, no business registrations, no verifiable identity. And when they pushed Kiyosaki directly, he said something that shook the entire personal finance world. He said, and I quote, "Rich Dad is a composite character. In other words, a parable, a teaching tool, like Harry Potter. Was Rich Dad real? Probably not. But here's the more important question, and it's the question this entire channel is built on. Are the lessons right? That question, and its complicated answer, is exactly where we're going next. Don't stop here. Part 2 is where the real education begins. Whether Rich Dad was real or not, the framework he represents is real. And it's the framework that has quietly changed how millions of people think about money. Lesson 1. Stop trading time for money. Kiyosaki calls the standard salary model the rat race. You wake up, you go to work, you get paid, you spend it, you wake up and do it again. The trap isn't your boss. The trap isn't your salary. The trap is the system. A system designed to make you dependent on the next paycheck forever. The escape? Stop selling your time. Start buying assets that generate income without you. Rental properties that pay you while you sleep. Stocks that grow while you're on vacation. Businesses that run without you in them. This is the core shift Rich Dad, Poor Dad is asking you to make. Not from poor to rich. From employee thinking to investor thinking. Lesson 2. Know the difference between an asset and a liability. This is the chapter that most people read too quickly. Kiyosaki's definition is brutally simple. An asset puts money into your pocket. A liability takes money out. That's it. And then he drops the bomb. Your house? The thing society calls your biggest asset? Kiyosaki calls it a liability, because every month it takes money out of your pocket. Mortgage, maintenance, property tax, insurance. It doesn't pay you. You pay it. Now, is that controversial? Yes. Is it also mathematically accurate for most people? Yes. The assets column, according to Kiyosaki, should contain things that generate cash flow. Dividend stocks, rental income, business revenue, royalties. Rich people fill the assets column first. Then they live on what's left. Everyone else fills the liabilities column first. The house, the car, the lifestyle, and wonders why there's nothing left to invest. Lesson 3. Financial intelligence is the real currency. Kiyosaki's deepest point, the one buried in Chapter 4 that almost everyone summarizes wrong, is this. The reason most people never build wealth is not lack of money, it's lack of financial intelligence. The ability to read a financial statement, the knowledge of how tax law actually works, the understanding that corporations pay expenses before taxes, while employees pay taxes first. That single structural difference in how income is taxed is one of the core mechanisms behind generational wealth. And it's taught in 0 schools, 3 lessons, 1 book, published from a garage in Arizona. But here's where the story gets complicated, because in Part 3, we're going to talk about the truth that nobody in personal finance wants you to know about this book. The truth that actually makes the lessons more valuable, not less. In 2012, Rich Global LLC, one of Robert Kiyosaki's companies, filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. The debt, $24 million. The man who built an empire telling people how to manage money and avoid financial disaster filed for bankruptcy. And the internet, predictably, erupted. Rich Dad is a fraud. The whole book is a lie. He doesn't even follow his own advice. Here's what I want you to sit with before you agree with any of that. Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times before the light bulb worked. The Wright brothers crashed their aircraft dozens of times before Kitty Hawk. Warren Buffett, the greatest investor who ever lived, has made catastrophic investment mistakes that cost billions. We don't dismiss the light bulb because Edison failed. We don't dismiss flight because the Wright brothers crashed. We don't dismiss value investing because Buffett lost money. Kiyosaki's personal financial decisions are separate from the framework he created. One of his companies failed. The framework for building assets, understanding cash flow, and developing financial intelligence. That framework has been independently validated by economists, investors, and entrepreneurs for over 25 years. But here's the real lesson. The line worth reading between. The one that the bankruptcy actually proves. A framework is not a guarantee. Rich Dad, Poor Dad does not promise that following Kiyosaki's path will make you rich. It promises something far more important. That if you don't understand money, how it flows, how it compounds, how it's taxed, you will always be dependent. Your employer's system, your government system, your bank system. The real lesson is not the real estate tips or the asset column, it's this. Your financial future is your responsibility. Not your school's, not your parents', not your government's, yours. Some books tell you what to think about money. This book tells you to start thinking about it. That's the story nobody tells, right? I'm Money Between the Lines. Subscribe for more. I'll see you there.